We are part of an amazing story that goes all the way back to Jesus rising from the dead and releasing his church to change the world. And what a blessing it's been to be a part of that.
Awaken actually started in my condo, my tiny little condo downtown, 15 years ago. So I've been here since day one.
I moved to Columbus a month before we planted the church. So I got to be part of the actual, moving into this building, prepping this building, being here for the launch Sunday, that kind of thing.
What do you guys remember about this building when we first moved in?
We painted the whole thing gray because then that's what you would do. And I remember parts of but we had to paint it 5 and 6 times because it just kept flaking off.
Evidence of God's grace is that we are all still alive in this building.
Yes,
right now.
We're doing great.
I love it though. I mean, we just wanted to be together. It didn't matter if it was in some awesome fancy building or if it was what it was.
And we thought it was great. And it was.
We got involved with Awaken by being involved with Linworth, the church who planted and sent out Awaken.
We just moved to the Columbus area about a year ago now, so came to Columbus and we're kind of thinking about looking for a new church to join, and fortunately knew Katie and Johnny Fried.
I was invited to a church planting session at Kimball's house on Harrison Avenue. Once I came here, there was something special, and there still is something special.
I'd been to a lot of evangelical churches since becoming a Christian, but there was just something that was so raw and powerful about the preaching. I was just automatically disarmed. And I feel like I was welcomed so thoroughly, and I was like, man, if the Spirit of God is anywhere in this city, it's here.
So we moved from Chicago to Columbus in 2011. My mom had reached out to me saying, hey, I got a letter. I received a Christmas letter from Jackie Langley and how her son-in-law had started a church in the short north called Awaken that she was attending. And my mom was like, hey, you should go check it out. So we checked it out in December of 2011, fell in love with it right away. Been committed ever since.
I came to Awaken Church 11 years ago. I met a friend at a swing dancing event who invited me to come. I came to a Friday night OSU hangout and met Kimball there, and just immediately fell in love with the people and started attending the church.
Our part of the story goes all the way back to the year 2000 at Linworth Road Church in a youth ministry called Lifeline. I was the youth pastor at the grand age of 23. Many of the founding members of Awaken were in their young to mid-teens. Little did we know that at that time, God was preparing us to do something special. This wasn't a normal group of teens. This was a special group that God was building to plant a church in the year 2010.
We knew that we wanted to be good neighbors in our neighborhood. We wanted to live intentionally in our neighborhood. And we wanted to land in a church body who would not just accommodate that vision, but really come alongside of us. I mean, we have grown a family in this church. You know, our path towards growing a family was not traditional. We went through losses and we went through additions and we hosted kids through My Village. I couldn't imagine having grown our family in any other place besides within this body.
I walked in and I noticed the kids there for the first time greeting me. It's something I've never seen at a church. I've never seen the kids being so actively wanting to be there.
As I read the Bible and I learned about who Jesus was, there was just this revelation and understanding and this is my purpose.
One of the first ones that comes to mind is me getting to baptize Tiffany, kind of a big monumental moment in her faith journey. And so having an opportunity to be the person that got to do that is really special and something that we get to always look back on with fondness.
Phil, when you found out you were sick, what has been Awaken's grace to you through that?
Just God's hand of comfort and compassion has been on us through the church. If I could tally up the hours of support that we've received through just people wrapping around us in very kind of tangible, materialistic ways, but through prayer, has been really overwhelming to think about. You get this opportunity to experience a very unique and personal and intimate way that the Lord's hand of comfort and compassion is upon you. And that has really predominantly been expressed through this church. And we've experienced that tenfold as we've really battled through this disease over the past 8 years.
Awaken, the body of Christ here, has, in a sense, carried us to the throne room in our weakest moments when we don't have the the strength to get ourselves there. The body is like, we'll get you there.
There's been very tangible ways where I've experienced the love and the tenderness and the mercy of God through this body. Think over 15 years how much has changed, whether it be culturally, politically. The truth has not changed. God has not changed. And I think that is demonstrated through our body, through the leadership of this church. And that brings a smile to my face every time. It's a steadfast rock that'll be the same today as it was yesterday, and it'll be the same tomorrow as it is today.
The first thing that came to my mind was the worship night that we did when Christine and Kimball came out with their new album, and what that represented for us as a church, just coming through a lot of trials as a church body, and that kind of being like a celebration of what God had done and his faithfulness during that time. I say this all the time, and I'll like wave this banner for the rest of my life, just like feel so thankful that God brought us to Awaken.
We wouldn't be the same people that we are, and our relationship with the Lord wouldn't be the same if he hadn't brought us here.
Seeing this body love each other the way that Christ loves us, it's been incredibly edifying for my faith to see people love and serve sacrificially without thanks, without need for thanks, but just because that's how Christ loves us. I'm gonna love my brother and my sister that way.
I've been in just very low points, and the elders have come alongside me. We feel so much support. We're just extremely grateful to be here.
We recently got married, and it's been a really cool journey over like the past few months as we got ready for marriage, maybe perhaps a little bit earlier than we anticipated. I think something that's been really great here has been the home group aspect, and just having that tight-knit group of people that I feel like know you on maybe even more of a personal level. Not something I was necessarily like a part of any time before coming here. It's only been a year, but it feels like we've known a lot of these people for a lot longer and have like closer relationships with some people here than people that we've known for a much longer time period. We've been pushed a lot to grow a lot, and it's all been good.
The biggest thing our family went through was our family with Ruth when she was born. She was born with a liver disease and ended up needing a transplant when she was 5. So at the beginning of her life, we were in the hospital. I remember having a count, like a third of the days of her life, we were in the hospital. We called it our second home. That was a long, long journey. It was a long time before we didn't feel like we were in the hospital or with doctors all the time.
When we were in Cincinnati at the hospital, so it's like 2 hours away from the church, multiple people came and visited and spent time with us and brought us our favorite meals. And I mean, Chris, I called him one day and said, hey, we got the call. There's an organ donor and we need to go right now. And he just dropped everything and drove us to Cincinnati and stayed with us for 10 hours in the waiting room while they swapped out livers. and I think about how when we were in the recovery side of things in the ICU on a Sunday night, getting multiple texts from people sending us videos that were just panning around the church congregation from different perspectives in the room of everyone just head down praying over our family. And it just felt like we were just being held up by everybody when we didn't have any of our own strength to stand. This is family. These are people who have been with us before we ever had kids, the hard parts of having kids and the joys and celebrated birthdays, and just, I mean, it's family.
I grew up with like everyone who like comes here, and it's a very interesting feeling. I don't know, but it would be pretty cool if we all like continue to build the church like as we got older.
There was a really tight-knit group of people that helped start this church in the beginning. They were so inspired by so many of their parents. The dream would be that that could happen again. And I am thrilled to look at the current younger flock within the community, to see like so much of that generational passing on continue, you know, where all of their parents are friends. I think we're going to be continuing to build and stand on the shoulders of those who've gone before us even still.
We're at our first home group and we came downstairs. All of the boys, there were a bunch of boys from ranges of like 3 to 5, and they all were dressed up and playing together. And it sticks out because I remember putting Drew in the basement while we were trying to have home group, and it just, you know, failing over and over again. Him wanting to be with me, and to see him now just thriving and having friendships, and not only us benefiting from the time together with adults in the Word, but also like his blooming friendships.
The soundness of the teaching and the doctrine
it was immediately apparent to us. Teaching that was biblically sound and trustworthy, and that didn't shy away from difficult topics, but still treated those topics in a way that was clearly loving and clearly seeking the truth at the same time. I think that was immediately apparent to us, and we just love that, and it's just remained true.
It wasn't just people from the pulpit that were doing the majority of the service. There's an invitation for everyone to be involved. Getting involved in a home group, it took us a while, but once we did, we realized just the commitment and involvement and sacrifice that the body of believers is willing to take in a really pivotal season of our marriage and our life with young kids and me quitting my job was just such a grace of God that we're so thankful for and continue to be thankful for.
We started with 3 kids, which were my kids, and now we have over 70 kids. And those founding 40 who were in their young to mid-teens are now real adults with families of their own, sowing the gospel into their lives. And it appears like he's doing it all over again in the lives of our middle school and high school kids at this church.
The primary blessing of belonging to that Clintonville home group for as long as I have is to just live life with people over a long period of time and see God answer prayer, God be faithful over years. Recently, I think it's been really excited to see the Lord stir people to salvation, and to bring seekers into our midst who are asking good questions and are not only hearing the truth in the word, but experiencing authentic love from the Christian body. And that just combining for a powerful witness. Not only has my love for the Lord skyrocketed, but also my love and appreciation for the local church. I just love this church. I'm really excited to celebrate 15 years and see what God does in the next 15.
I'm just really expecting that our faith is really increased and grown in ways that are very easy for us to see. And I think as we take some of these big steps of faith and risk, I think we're going to be challenged in where we're at with our faith.
I think there's a lot that shouldn't change, and that's what I'm hopeful for. I hope that Awaken retains and deepens the things that have made it what it is.
I hope and desire just to bring Awaken to more people, to make disciples of all nations. For folks that are already in the church, for them to deepen their understanding of the Lord and just to be on fire for Him and have a love for the lost.
What makes our church at its best and its most fun and its most effective would only bless more people. More of the lost would be reached as we grow as a church.
I know for a fact, given our leadership and given the accountability that we're all in, that the truth will not be compromised. So I think as long as we continue to remain fully grounded in the Word, which we are, this church is set for some pretty explosive growth. These kids, 15 years from now, my goodness, I want to see ministry started in middle schools, high schools. They're the future leaders of this church.
Living in true biblical community has been, the greatest blessing in my life, in my faith journey, and I think for our families. And getting to have our kids experience that also is just the greatest. And so, my prayer would just be that this continues, this kind of truth-based community, this fellowship. It's going to have, generational consequences.
What are some things you hope we become, and then maybe some things you hope we don't lose?
Oh man, I hope we don't lose our unity. I remember when I was maybe 22, 23 years old, just starting out in ministry, I had written on a Post-it note in my Bible, I still have it, that my dream is to do life with people until we're all rolled out in a coffin. And that's what God has done. If I could have written the story, I couldn't have written it better. The unity at the church, the commitment that we have to one another through times of celebration and through times of grief and sorrow. Is second to none in my opinion. And I pray and hope and am doing everything I possibly can to make sure we never lose that, no matter what.